It's the Sean and Tamara Show.
You're watching the Sean and
Tamara Show, and we're here in Tavua. It's the first day here in terms of the consultation, and tomorrow we'll be having broadcast.
Unfortunately, our executive director, who was with us the entire time in Raki, has left us for a sort of boardy thing in Nandi. But that doesn't mean the work stops, because our consultation went ahead, even though she left because she had to drive, and she's been driving like all week. So we thank her very much for all her help, and we're here to tell you a little bit about what happened. So first thing is, this is one of our first times really having a consultation in Tavua, not to mention having a broadcast, which is really, really exciting because it's one of the first. And it's more or less branching out and connecting to another network, because it's something that had already been formed by the Gold Foundation.
Yeah, and it's also creating that space for other organizations such as Gold Foundation, creating visibility for other partners out there also to know the work that they do, particularly in a small community such as this.
And the thing is, every place is different, and that's why it's so important to have people that are already established. And while we are providing sort of a visibility for them, there's already a visibility among, the communities that it already reaches out to. So that's important, that you're building on the work and you're trying to understand the work that's already been done, and that's one of our things. So a couple of the things that were discussed was, there were so many things that were discussed today, because it was one of the first, and it's one of the first times that these women had the opportunity to talk about these kinds of things. So Tamara, what do you think stood out? What was the one thing that stood out the most for you?
Well, one of the things that stood out for me from the group that I was in was the fact that some of the women had to, they were like the sole income earner of the family. So they would get up in the morning and then they would have to go out to the mangroves and get crabs. And this was something that they would survive, like sole. This is their sole survival income. And so if there's no crabs out in the mangroves, then very sorry to say the budget gets affected, and sometimes they don't go to school. And also the other was the lack of, well, actually they don't have any health centers around Tavua. So Tavua is the only hospital that caters for all hospitals in the whole province of Tavua. And so there was this lady who lives up in, so they would have to come from Batukola to Tavua. And so this lady who lives in this area called Nasivi up in Batukola, and she would have to cross the river to get to the main road and then come to Tavua. And so if there's a flood, so they'll just be stuck on the island, or even if there's like high tide or something, they would just be stuck on the other side of the river, and they won't be able to come to Tavua to access. And also the transport only goes up to that area from 9 to 12 in the daytime, and then that it would stop there.
So a whole lot of things about being so disconnected, but Tavua as a center for all these people, need. I guess the development is so needed here, because if it's a center for so many different people that are so far away. Not to mention a community that's about 25 kilometers away from Tavua town. That I'm sorry to say, they don't have any transport in that community. And the thing is, there's a school about 15 kilometers away. And while we have recently had a whole lot of developments around providing transport for students, where they have reimbursements or they have tickets and stuff, that really doesn't help these children. For one, they have to walk the 15 kilometers. So sometimes after school, they're walking from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 along gravel roads with no light. And then they go home to a community where there is no electricity. So you wonder how these kids do their work. The woman was sharing that it's the kids walking home with kerosene lamps and stuff. So it's 2012 and there are kids walking home for 3 hours with kerosene lamps. And this community, the woman from it was saying that while there are developments in place to implement solar power, sorry, they don't really want solar power, because they don't think that it's reliable as it would be to have actual power lines going to their communities. So the thing is, they know what they want, and they've been trying to get it for so long, but nothing's just happening. So there's a whole range of stuff. There's the transport, there's the infrastructure, there's the health, there's utilities, there's the fact that there are schools. People can't afford to send their kids to school sometimes, and it's just a whole mess of stuff.
Yeah, and also there was um, because people up in Andarivatu, that's like in Antasir area, it's closer for them to bring their produce down this side to sell at the markets. So one of the ladies mentioned that if they were to bring their produce, they would have to pay their bus fare, and the bus driver of the bus company charges these women market vendors and other vendors $1 per bag, and that's their produce. So they would have to pay for their bus fare plus their produce and come all the way down to Tavua.
And then that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be selling these things, so they're making more of a loss than anything else.
Oh yeah, and also for those women living out in Vatukula, because the mines and everything, so the environment and practically everything around them is affected
So
by
pretty
the
toxic.
yeah. So it's like there's a lot of toxic wastes around the area. So when they plant their vegetables, it gets affected by the sulfate.
And black.
Yeah, and then so it turns black. So all their food crops are dead.
And asthma is really prevalent there as well. But the thing is, asthma medication, while a pump is $7, there's also asthma tablets, but they can't. Well, hospitals, run out, and the chemists haven't got anything either, so they have to go all the way to Bar just to find medication.
And if it's not
and if it's not there, they've wasted travel money, they've wasted their days and everything else. I mean, these people can't afford to be wasting time when they're trying to keep their family alive. And even with that whole thing, there's trying to get in cases of emergencies, because you can't get your asthma medication. When people have asthma attacks, it's so difficult. You have to pay like $20 just to get to the hospital, and even then the hospital probably won't be able to help you because of all the stuff. But in the lighter on a lighter note, we're here in the Tavua Hotel, and it's amazing.
Yes, Sean, it's just amazing how they managed to keep the sustainability or the longevity of the old colonial buildings. It's just pretty stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy this place.
When she marries a prince and he decides that he wants to buy land in Fiji, which has a very old building on it. But it is lovely here, and we're very glad to be here, and we'll be here until Sunday. So expect about 3 more updates as we very interesting updates, as we both have 2 days of broadcasting and a day of finding our way back home. So thank you very much, and that was the Sean and
Tamara show.
We'll be back with more soon.